To put on our tinfoil hat, I think, Chris Lee, he was the head of Halo Infinite for a few years. And after the 2020 reveal, he's gone, Joe Staten's in.
Don't get any funny ideas.
And I know a lot of the reaction for a lot of fans was, I don't really know Chris Lee that well. Joe Staten's my daddy. I love this guy. Like, let's welcome him back with open arms. Everyone got excited. But I think what we're kind of seeing, and we talked this through on the phone, I believe, is...
Yeah, it was on the phone.
I think Chris Lee, he was probably doing a great job to get this game to be what it needed to be, but he probably wasn't doing it in a time frame in a way that was really going to work for the studio, for the amount of money. And as much as people want to say Joe Staten coming back is only a good thing, I mean, he's a net positive for me. We love that he's there. It makes us so happy.
Oh, likewise.
But if you look at Joe Staten's history, after Halo, he stays with Bungie, they go into Destiny, and then sounds like he kind of got screwed over with Destiny and them scrapping his story. Well, then he goes right back to Microsoft. He's been working at Microsoft since he left Bungie, and he has helped get Crackdown 3 out the door. He's helped get ReCore out the door. He's helped get, I think it's called Tell Me Why, out the door.
Yeah.
Joe Staten has become this reliable guy at Microsoft that...
He's a closer.
He's a closer. You said it perfectly. So I think what they did in 2020 is they kind of reevaluated and they went, okay, this is what we're going to do. This game's not coming out this year. Chris Lee, you're out. Even if he's a great guy and has done a great job, you're out.
The hell on, Felicia. Remember that. Remember it. Write it down. Take a picture. I don't give a fuck. Chris.
Bye, Felicia.
Joe Staten's in. Joe, this is what we want. This is what we expect. Get this game looking good. Make sure it comes out next year. Do what you got to do. And I think it was... he's the creative director. I think it was primarily his decision to very early say he looked at the project and went, okay, we have 1 year in a pandemic. Forge is not going to be there at launch. Co-op's not going to be there at launch. There's some other things that I'm not even sure about yet, but we'll see how it goes. And they polished this game up. He put, like, if you think about it, if you remember back fall of 2020, there was a big dead silent moment for the studio. It was kind of like a blackout. I think there was, and they ended up coming back in December of 2020 with the first Inside Infinite and basically telling us that, the studio's been heads down for these months getting this thing done. Yeah. And then we started getting Inside Infinites, all the way up to E3. We got the E3 stuff. And now, what were we just told again, like a week ago? Joe saying they're in shutdown mode. Shutdown mode, that's why we don't have campaign stuff to show. Shutdown mode for a while, then we'll show some stuff closer to launch. We want to get this game done and ready. I think Joe is... Like, it's funny because we all love Joe so much and we have this nostalgia for him where it gets in our head that he's just a buddy, he's just a friend. But the truth is he's a professional. He is a top-tier professional game developer. He's a leader.
Guy gets paid. He makes money.
He gets paid. He works at Microsoft. He knows what he's doing. He's not just a kid who worked on Halo. Like, he's so much more than that. So I think he came in, he got strict. He said, this and this is going to be cut. We're going shutdown mode here. We're going shutdown mode here. We're going to reveal these things here and here, and we're going to get this done. And he's going to close this game. And I think it's probably, as a company, as a developer, as a studio, this is probably the right decision.
Brian,
What's up, Josh?
I just picture Joe showing up there day one, and everyone's like, "Oh, Joe, nice to meet you. I'm such a huge fan." He's like, "I didn't come here to make friends."
Yeah.
Get back to work.
Yeah.
He's like, Frank, I need to
kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm gonna let it come.
Right?
Yeah.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
So I think, and I honestly, truly believe, I could be completely wrong. I've been wrong before, but I think in less than a year after launch, Joe's not going to be there anymore. He's not going to be at 343.
Could very well be.
That's how I feel.
I think we'll see. I think it's and I liked Chris Lee. I didn't know if he was necessarily the best choice, but I will always be grateful for him steering, even not having the game yet, for steering it in the direction that it looks like it's going in.
Yeah.
I mean, just artistically and thematically, I'm grateful for him for that. But there was, even before the 2020 trailer, there were leaks and murmurs and stuff that 343 was really mismanaged. And some of that has got to be on him. And I don't know how much of management in 343, sometimes less is more. You see this in movies a lot. If the budget is as high as it is, and they've had all this time, I could imagine a development team, and we have to remember, they're humans, right? I mean, how often in your life have you worked nonstop to complete a task, going 110% every day for years? Never. I mean, I can't think of any time in my life. I mean, I do it for 2 days, I'm exhausted.
Yep.
Staring at a computer alone, I can imagine. But I can see how an obscene budget, a lot of time, because they put the kibosh on putting out any more content for Halo 5. They handed Halo Wars 2 off to somebody else. I mean, they've had a lot of time, so they have this promise of they can take time with it. They can take as much money as they kind of need. There's no real firm release date up until only like last week. I mean, it's not necessarily gonna be nose to the floor, get the job done with that sort of, with those limits. I mean, just as from a management perspective, I'm not to this scale, but I'm a manager of a grocery store. If you don't set deadlines and you don't give people, and you don't follow up with people, the ship's going to get off course. It is. And I think that might have been what happened with Chris Lee. He quickly leaves thereafter, and yeah, they brought in a closer. Why they didn't bring him in any sooner, or why they haven't brought him in the past, is beyond me. Personally, I'm under the belief that maybe Joe Staten didn't even want to come back to Halo, not because he doesn't love it, but I feel like he wants someone else to take it over.
I agree with you. Yeah.
I think he's enjoying his time back, but yeah, I think you're right. He might just end up leaving once this thing is closed. I mean, that's what he does best, but because it is kind of like he's been with Microsoft for a long time. I mean, since like with Recore, what is that then? It's years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
You would think that he would have come in to help 343 at some point. And I'm sure they would have wanted him to from a business perspective. The only thing I could see why he wouldn't is because he doesn't want to, or didn't want to at that time.
Yeah.
Until finally, I think he saw the need, and they offered him more than he could refuse.
Yeah, no, I think you're completely onto something there. I mean, I can, it's easy for us as like just fans to think, oh, well, wouldn't working on Halo just be the best? Like, why would you work on Recore or Tell Me Why or Crackdown when you could work on Halo? But like, the thing is, like, it's probably a lot. I mean, I don't. This is all speculation, but it's probably a lot less stressful to be working under Microsoft as a guy who can hone his skills into one particular thing, go in and help these different studios finish their games. Yeah. Than to work on Halo. Halo has probably got to be a constant, nonstop headache, especially when you're a grizzled agent, a veteran of the studio. All eyes are going to be pointed at him constantly. I mean, he could have been there for Halo 4 and 5 in a role where we got the same Halo 4 and 5 games that we have now that people criticize. Yeah. People could have been like, the narrative could be now, well, Joe Staten, he sucks. He really lost his touch just because he was there for Halo 4 and 5, even though it might not have been him at all, So, but yeah, he's a professional, and you've seen the things he's done over the years. He was front and center of that Halo 2 documentary. He did that story. He led ODST. He was the guy who was going and meeting with Ensemble Studios for Halo Wars. He was meeting with Peter Jackson for the Halo Chronicles series that took off. He's the guy you go to for this kind of thing.
So what you're saying, Brian, is it's like the end of Batman Begins, where you got Batman and you got Gordon on the rooftop, and he's like, got this new guy in town, causing problems. It's like, Lefty's calling card, whips it out, and it's just, instead of the Joker, it's the Master Chief on there. It's
like the whole thing, like, where Batman's always gone when Gordon disappears. He disappears when Gordon turns around. Is basically that's Joe. He's just gone.
Logged off.
Yeah.